Everybody, welcome to Snow Talk. Wave 3 News meteorologist Brian Good here. Relatively short video today. I'm not exactly feeling right up to speed to go into a lot of talking today. Some of you are like, oh, thank goodness. But at least we'll touch base with some of the items that we are looking at as we head further into the month of December. First off, on Snow Talk, our stats haven't changed much. Obviously, we've had just a trace of snow so far this season. Cold, though. In fact, the coldest of the season here in Louisville this morning at 26 degrees. Some of you down into the teens early on. All right, we've recovered somewhat as of this recording. 32 now freezing at the city, but still upper 20s elsewhere. We'll have some high-level cirrus clouds streaming overhead today. We're already seeing that as you look up in the sky. That's going to stay with us all day. So not exactly a perfectly blue sky, but it'll be enough to get through the decent warming along with some dry air in place to get us at least to the 50-degree mark here in the city, maybe even a hair above it for an hour or so this afternoon. But most of the day will be spent in the upper 30s and 40s for a lot of us. Okay. Now, the weather pattern is relatively quiet until we get into next week, or later this week, I should say. Here's a look at the GFS. We've got one cool front, and it breezes on by there pretty quick. I apologize, but we moves in on tomorrow evening. So tomorrow near 60, and then we'll see a cool wave that will affect the travel day and Thanksgiving. What looks to be on a cool note for us. Don't see any rain or snow with that. Now, for the shoppers on Friday, we have another bubble of warmer air that will try to build back in. That'll lead us into a decent setup for Light Up Louisville. Now, as we head into Saturday, now the GFS is really fast this front. It brings it in early Saturday morning. I think it's a little too aggressive with this idea. But what's happening is most of these systems are kind of just barely dipping into the lower portion here, the lower 48, the Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, and they move on out. And it's just one after another after another. So there's not much that's going to happen until you get more of a blocking signal that's going to take place up and through here that will kind of slow the jet stream down, allow for these lows to dig a little more to the south and then roll out. And that's what we're waiting to see signs of. And right now I don't see much of that. So everything looks fairly progressive all the way through at least the end of the month or close to it. So another cool wave arrives over the weekend. Another warm spell around the 28th. This one has a better chance to dig a little more to the south, and GFS is a little more excited about it as a result of that. In fact, it's a very similar look to it of what we just went through, with a lot of wind, potential for severe weather, and then some backlash snow that would likely stay to our north. Either way, it's showing a fairly dynamic system near the end of the month, and with a little bit more of a blocking feature, a little more to the south. We'll see. Here's the Euro idea. First off, here's the Euro with the front Saturday. Now, see, the GFS already had it moving through Saturday. The Euro is a little more to the north. I like the Euro look. That's how I've trended the forecast today. It does move through, and it is a fairly good little dip into the 40s, lower 40s at that in some cases this weekend. So it is going to be noticeable after Saturday. It rolls on out, and you start to see signs of the next little bubble of warmth that comes our way. Although this little dip on the 28th is showing up, and then there's another one just beyond this that is a little more pronounced. There we go. A little more pronounced and through here that digs in, that has that look the GFS does on the 30th. So I think this one, the GFS doesn't see it. So I think this one, if the GFS does, but that's the same one they're linking up on, I think the Euro is right in the idea that it would be a non-issue, which means this one will be the main one that would be an issue, which would show up a little bit later in time, likely the first couple of days into December, if you were to go by that. So the snowboard, I've trended the forecast that way. I think it's going to be a couple of dips that'll happen. One, of course, that'll happen tomorrow night. One on Saturday. One on the 28th or 29th. And then the other one, which would likely be December 1st or 2nd, which would then put into a rain to snow deal, potentially the 3rd. That's how I'm going to trend it for now. We'll see how. And keep in mind, guys, on these setups, what we're mainly looking for down the road is shots of cold air and blocking. When it comes to snow, that's a very difficult thing to pick out in the long term. In most cases, some of our best snow events we've had have not been witnessed within the models within 3 days. Sometimes we get lucky and we get a few of them within 5. But most of the bigger ones are within 3 days. So, we can't tell you that much on snow. The reason why we did the snowboard all the way out that far is that we at least see a signal of colder air and try to match up the storm system to determine if we're looking at the potential for something that would be a transition event or an icing event or perhaps a little more significant on the snow side. That's all I can really tell you. And a significant on the snow side can range from anything from 2 inches to a foot. But right now, all I can tell you on the snowboard today is that it looks like a rain to brief snow potential with that system on the 2nd and 3rd. So what's going on? Well, when we look at our index here, and I think I have these out of order. Hold on one second. Yeah, I do. Okay. Sorry about that. All right, so let me do these in the order the best way I can. Here is the outlook that takes us... this is from the Rossby Wave Index. I'm sorry it's so squishy looking here. What we're looking at on these is the eastern part of the country, right in here. Notice it's got a warm signal from roughly the 30th of November through about the 4th of December. And that, I think, is pretty likely. That would match us all the way up from what we're seeing on some of the model trends, even on the Euro. Now, once I advance this, and as it kicks in, which I'll take in a second, as we head into the latter portion of the month, that's where I think we start to see some changes that will begin to kick in here as we get more of that colder pattern that will establish itself. Now here we are now, roughly the 15th of December through Christmas Eve. Notice we get a colder signal, an even colder one as we into Christmas Eve. So it still looks like, not a lot has really changed here, guys. It still looks like the mid portion of December onward is going to be the change in our pattern. Notice here on the Rossby snow potential, it's still got several chances for something wintry starting around the mid portion of the month, very close to Christmas Eve, and even still has it in January, a very active January. So for those of you that are big snow fans, winter fans, don't know when is it going to finally get to the point of something fun to track, we got a while. All right, guys, don't get too excited yet. I think it's going to take a couple more, if not a few more weeks to get into that locked-in pattern. So hang in there. Enjoy these nice breaks while we can. It's good for travel and good to get those Christmas decorations up while you can, all right? Take care.